Greetings, dear learners. This is Faculty of Psychology at SRN International School, and I'm here to provide you with a subject video. Before I start, I would like to extend a warm welcome towards all of you. I welcome you all here, and this is going to be a very nice session today as I'm going to explain you about human development of class 11th, and the subject is psychology. I've already mentioned this, and all the material is based on the NCERT book. So let's start. First, we are going to discuss some keywords to understand what is development. So first is growth. Now growth refers to an increase in the size of the body parts of the organisms as a whole. So when we are growing, that means that our height increases, our weight increases. When we are a baby, we are very small in size, but as we develop, as we grow, our body size also increases. So this is the example for growth. It can be measured or quantified. Example, growth in height, weight, etc. I hope that you understood what is growth. Now let's move on to the next keyword. Next is development. Now what is development? If I try to make you understand what is development, it's a process by which an individual grows and changes throughout the life cycle. So the cycle that I'm talking about is when you are a baby, you are an infant, then you grow into a child, and then you grow and become a teenager, and then you grow into an adult, and then it eventually leads to old age, right? So this is the change that I'm talking about. So everyone in their life goes through this change, and this is a process that nobody can avoid. These changes have a direction and hold definite relationship with what precedes it, and therefore will determine what will come after. All changes which occur as a part of development are not of the same kind. They are not temporary. So that means that all of these changes that I'm talking about, these are permanent. It involves changes both growth and decline. So I'll give you an example. I've already given you the example for growth. That means you are growing from an infant to a child, and then you become an adult, and then old age. I will talk about decline. So decline is something, for example, your body, your weight, your other parts, they start to grow. But as you reach, or you are reaching old age, now the decline, you can witness that you are in decline. That means that your organs will not work as they used to before. There is a decline in their functioning and in their growth. Your weight can also be less, you are losing weight, so it's a decline. So first you grow, and then again the decline process starts in old age. Alright, so I hope that you've understood development. Now we are going to move to the third keyword to understand development. Now we are going to talk about the third keyword, which is maturation. Now this refers to the changes that follow an orderly sequence and are largely dictated by the genetic blueprint, which produces commonalities in our growth and development. Now there are some examples for this. That is, most children can sit without support by 7 months of age, stand with support by 8 months, and walk by 1 year. If the infant is maturationally not ready, special efforts to accelerate these behaviors do not help. I hope that you have understood what is maturation. Now, maturation basically, if I tell you in a simple language, it means that a child or an infant or anyone will follow an order or a sequence in changes. For example, change will occur in a series. Alright, so one after the other. So now you can understand with these examples that in 7 months the child is able to sit with support, and in 8 months the child can start. So 7, then comes 8. So you can see how the change is occurring in a sequence. I hope that you have understood this. Now we are going to talk about the next topic. Now, the last keyword is evolution. It refers to species specific changes, proceeds at a very slow pace, about millions of years. Example, natural selection. I am going to give you another example for evolution. When we talk about our ancestors, they had a tail. Now because it wasn't coming into any use due to evolution, due to a species specific change which was proceeding at a very slow pace, our tail vanished. So now we don't have a tail anymore. This is an example for evolution. I hope that you've understood so far. I'm going to move ahead with the next slide. Now I'm going to explain you the meaning of development. Development is the pattern of progressive, orderly and predictable changes. These changes begin at conception and continue throughout our life, which means that this is a continuous process and it goes on till the day we die, and it will start when we are a fetus in our mother's belly. We not only change physically but also in the way we think, use language, and develop social relationships. So, we can say that development or change is not only in our physical characteristics but also in our mental characteristics, such as we develop our language, we develop our social relationships around us, and this is how we can say that leads to our overall or holistic development. Now I'm going to explain you the next slide. Now we are going to discuss the influences on development. Now development, as we can say, that is influenced by many factors, and these factors they work together like they are in always working together in order to make development happen or influence the development. Now, the first is biological, second is cognitive, and the third is socio-emotional processes. Biological processes can be our physical growth, etc. Cognitive is our development of language, how we are able to see things and interpret what that is, how we are able to hear things and then interpret which language is that and what is the other person saying. The third is socio-emotional processes, that is that basically we develop friendships, we recognize our family members, we respect our elders, etc. So these things, we can say that these things are influencing our development. Alright, now we are going to move to the next slide. Here I am going to explain you what are biological processes. Development due to genes inherited from parents such as height, weight, brain, heart, lungs, development, etc. show the role of biological processes. I've already explained it to you that the growth of our height, weight, brain, heart, lungs, and how we inherit this growth pattern from our parents in the form of genes, these are included in the biological processes. Now we are going to talk about the cognitive processes. They relate to the mental activities associated with the processes of knowing and experiencing, such as thought, perception, attention, and problem solving, etc. Now, cognitive literally means our skills to use our mental activities. Now, how can we use our mental activities? when we try to know something, when we are experiencing something, when we are thinking something, so our thought process, when we are watching something, so we are perceiving something, when we are studying, so we are concentrating on something, so we are using our cognitive processes in this. So our development is influenced by our cognitive processes too. I hope that you've understood everything so far. Now we are going to move to the next slide. Here we are going to talk about socio-emotional processes. They refer to the changes in an individual's interaction with the other people, changes in emotions and in personality. It is important to remember that these three processes are interwoven. They keep on influencing the changes and the development of the individual as a whole throughout the human lifespan. So I am going to explain you a little simply that socio-emotional processes are when we try to interact with our family members or our friends, and we develop emotions, we start to recognize our emotions in a social context, and that results in developing our whole personality. That is our socio-emotional processes, and development is influenced by socio-emotional processes too. Now we can say that these three processes, first is biological, then cognitive and socio-emotional, they work together. They are closely knitted together. That means that they work hand in hand, and they are influencing change in the development of an individual as a whole, and this carries out in our life. Alright, let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to talk about the lifespan perspective on development. Now, the term development means a progressive series of changes that occur as a result of maturation and experience. That means that development is a change, and that change is also in series, and which is a result of our maturation and experience. It includes the following assumption. First, here are some points that I'm going to explain you in the lifespan perspectives. So please listen to it very carefully. This is a very important topic in this chapter. It first point is that the lifespan perspective on development is a lifelong. That is, it takes across all age groups starting from conception to old age. It includes both gains and losses. Change in one aspect goes with changes in others. The various processes of human development, that is biological, cognitive, and socio emotional, are interwoven in the development of a person throughout the lifespan. So basically, it's a lifelong process, and it takes place from the day we are conceived till the day we die. And if there is a change in one aspect, then you can see the change in the others too. And the second point is that it is influenced by biological, cognitive, and socio emotional processes, and they all are closely linked together. I hope that you've understood all these points. Let's move on to the next slide. Here we can say that it is multidirectional. Some components of a dimension may increase while others may decrease. That is, like, if one change is increasing, it is possible that the other might decrease. For example, with age you become wiser with your experience, but your performance is likely to decrease. The fourth point is it is highly plastic. That is, within a person, modifiability is found in psychological development, that is, skills and abilities, and can be improved on development throughout the lifespan. This means that you, in psychological development, skills, for example, can be improved. I want to be a good in my language. For example, I want my English to improve, so I will do some practice in English, join some extra class, and my language skills in English, for example, speaking and writing, will also be better. This means that I have developed in somewhat way. Now it varies among the various individuals. Now let's move on to the next slide. It is influenced by historical conditions. Now, I am going to explain this statement to you with an example. The experiences of 20-year-old who lived during the freedom struggle would be very different from the 20-year-old of today. The career orientations of school students would be very different today from a student who was in school 50 years ago. It's a concern of a number of disciplines. That means that different disciplines like psychology, sociology, anthropology, and neurosciences study human development, each trying to provide answers to development throughout the lifespan. Now, there's one last point left in the lifespan perspective. Let's discuss that. An individual responds and acts in a particular context. For example, the life events in everyone's life are not the same, such as death of a parent, accident, earthquake, etc., affect the course of one's life, as also the positive influences such as winning an award or getting a job. So we can see that how an individual responds and acts is based on a particular context. That means positive life events can actually make us positive and influence us positively, and negative life events can also influence us negatively. I hope that you have understood all these topics. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and share this video. I hope that you were very much alert during this video. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.